This is section 122, Graphs of Equations. In this lesson, we're going to determine if a point lies in the equation of a graph, and we're going to graph an equation by using t-charts to help and assist. Now this lesson should be very familiar. It's not that complicated in terms of this is stuff that we've been doing and you've seen in previous classes. But we're going to start with the fundamental graphing principle. Now it says that the graph an equation is the set of points to which satisfy the equation. Now what that means, that if you have a point, x and y, and you plug that value, x and y, into the graph, it makes it true. So to satisfy the equation, I'm going to say that again, it means that if you take the x and y value and you plug it in, it makes it true. So for example, if I have x plus y equals 2, what a value for x and y that makes this true would be 1, 1, because 1 plus 1 equals 2. I plugged 1 in for x and 1 in for y. A value that wouldn't work would be 2, negative 1. 2, positive 1. If I plugged in 2, I get 2 plus 1, that would equal 3. That's not true. Right? This is not the same as this. So it can only be values of x and y that make it true. So let's determine whether or not 2, negative 1 is on the graph of x squared plus y to the third equals 1. The way you verify it is you plug it in, see if it's true or false. So we take that value, we plug in 2 for x, we plug in negative 1 for y. So 2 squared is 4, negative 1 cubed, negative 1 times negative 1 times negative 1 gives you negative 1. 4 and negative 1 get you 3. Well, 3 doesn't equal 1. So therefore it's false. So therefore we can conclude that the point 2, negative 1 is not on the graph of x squared plus y cubed equals 1. Now if it was true, then you can conclude it was on the graph. Now, we can spend less time guessing to see if points work by formatting the equation. So we're used to equations where it says y equals blah 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 x plus blah 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 x plus, like y equals something. We're used to equations like that because it's actually easier to find the values on the graph. And so in this instance, you can get y by itself. You would subtract x squared to both sides. You would cube root both sides, because a cube root and a cube cancel out. Now this might be some math that we're unfamiliar with, but that's okay. But the point is, y is now by itself. So because it's by itself, I can now select values for x. I get to choose the values for x, and I just plug those values in. So for example, if I wanted to find what my y value is, I could plug negative 3 in for x. So if I plug negative 3 in, 1 minus negative 3 squared, negative 3 squared is 9, 1 minus 9 is negative 8. The cube root of negative 8 is negative 2. So if my x was 3 and my y was negative 2, I can create the point negative 3, negative 2. Now you can keep going with this. So if I wanted to, I can continue and I could create a table. I can plug in all, and I'm the one choosing, so you're going to be the one choosing all the different x values. You plug it in, you can use your calculator, beep bop boop, you can enter them in, and you're going to get the y values. So therefore you're going to get a set of points. And then you can take those set of points, you can place them on a graph like so, and then because we know it's an equation, you can connect them. Now, here's the issue, and here's a big issue that I see with a lot of students when we go to graph. These points constitute only a small sampling of points on the graph of the equation. You can use a graph utility to get a better idea of what the graph looks like. And what I mean by that is if I go to graph something And let's just say I plug in points and I get something like that. Is that enough information to see what the full shape is? Maybe I should plug in values on this side. So plug in -1 for x, -2 for x, -3 for x. And lo and behold, we're going to find that it's actually a circle. That's what I mean by it. This is a small sampling. And if I don't understand what the picture of the graph is going to look like, you can plug in more. You can choose more points to get what it is that you need. So what did we learn today? We basically reviewed how to graph. You get y by itself, if it's not already by itself, and then you plug in for x, you simplify, and that's how you get the values for y. This does conclude our lesson. If you have any other questions, please leave them in the comments.